Hello hockey fans and welcome back to another video. This coming Wednesday on September 14th, another European league shall drop the puck for its latest year of play, as Switzerland's National League shall take to the ice for its 22-23 season. While the Swiss League is regarded as one of the top competitions in Europe, and while the National League has been home to plenty of NHL alumni over the years, the recent mass exodus of foreign-born KHL players, coupled with the notable departures from North America, have given the Swiss League a sudden influx of notable talent. And what better way to learn about them than by highlighting the cream of the crop, right? So in today's video, allow me to take you through my list of the top 10 former NHLers who are playing in the Swiss National League this season. Kicking things off at number 10, we have Nick Shaw. The only American player on this list, Nick Shaw is looking to make a strong first impression during his debut year in Switzerland. A third-round pick in the 2011 NHL draft by the LA Kings, Nick Shaw spent parts of 5 seasons in the show, where he scored 18 goals and 59 points in 299 NHL games for his efforts. After playing the last 2 years in a variety of leagues across Europe, and after spending the recent 21-22 season in the KHL, the American forward decided to join the Swiss League for the current year of play, as he signed a 1-year contract with HC Ambri Piotta on July 31st, 2022. Since then, Shaw has joined Piotta's roster for the 22-23 season. Though he hasn't had the greatest start in Switzerland since he suffered a rib injury on August 22nd, the 29-year-old is expected to be good to go once the regular season gets underway. So here's hoping he can stay healthy for the rest of the year and he produces a strong debut in Switzerland. He certainly deserves some good news now, that's for sure. Next up at number 9 we have Markus Granlund. One of the most productive players in Russia over the last few years, Markus Granlund is eager to continue his high-scoring play during his opening year in the National League. A second-round pick by the Calgary Flames in 2011, Granlund suited up in 355 NHL games over parts of 7 seasons, where he potted 58 goals and 101 points during that span. Having spent the last 2 seasons with KHL side Salavat Yuleev, and having been one of the most productive players across the entire league during that span, the Finnish forward elected to take his talents elsewhere, as he signed a 1-year contract with HC Lugano on July 19th, 2022. Given that he's been one of the most productive players outside of the NHL over the last few years, and given that he is playing slightly weaker competition than seasons past, I expect that Granlund will get comfortable in his new surroundings, find his rhythm sooner rather than later, and register another productive year for himself. I mean, the guy has been a point-scoring machine recently, and he won an Olympic gold medal earlier this year. He's a pretty good hockey player, you know. Moving on to number 8, we have Joakim Nordstrom. One of the only players on this list to have lifted the Stanley Cup, Joakim Nordstrom is looking to add another trophy to his cabinet during his National League debut. A third-round pick in the 2010 draft by the Chicago Blackhawks, Nordstrom spent parts of 8 seasons in the show, where he scored 32 goals and 75 points in 444 NHL games for his efforts. Not only that, the Swedish forward also got his hands on the greatest trophy in the sport, as he won the 2015 Stanley Cup as a member of the Blackhawks. Not bad for a second-year player in the NHL, eh, folks? After spending the recent 21-22 season with KHL side CSKA Moscow and having departed from the team before their eventual Gagarin Cup championship, the Swedish forward has moved elsewhere in Europe for the current season of play, as he signed a 2-year contract with the National League's HC Davos on June 2nd, 2022. Though he hasn't been the most productive player during his pro career, and he has instead made a name for himself as a defensively responsible middle six forward, the 30-year-old is expected to be an integral member of Davos's roster for the foreseeable future, and help the team return to their former glory by lifting a championship at the end of the year. Will that happen though? I guess time will tell. At the 7th spot on this list, we have Sami Vatanen. The first of 2 defensemen to be featured in this video, Sami Vatanen is ready to pick up right where he left off during his sophomore season in Switzerland. A 4th-round pick in 2009 by the Anaheim Ducks, Vatanen played 473 NHL games over parts of 9 seasons, where he scored 47 goals and 200 points during that span. Having left the NHL behind in 2021, the Finnish defenseman joined Geneva Servette HC for the recent 21-22 season, where he scored at a point-a-game pace over the course of the entire season, and he finished third place in scoring by defensemen across the entire National League, despite playing considerably less games than the other players on the list. Oh, and he also won both an Olympic gold medal and a World Championship gold medal while representing Team Finland, so it's safe to say that he had a pretty good year for himself. This season though, Vatanen is back in Geneva for his second year with the team. Since he played so well in Switzerland the first time around, and since he was one of the top blue liners in the country during that span, the 31-year-old will be expected to perform just as well, if not better, during the current season of play. Even if he doesn't though, Vatanen has signed an extension with Geneva until the conclusion of the 23-24 season, so it looks like he'll be sticking around for many months to come. Sounds like a good deal for both the player and his organisation, at least in this point in time anyway. Next, at number 6, we have Yannick Weber. The only Swiss-born player on this list, Yannick Weber is eager to continue leading by example during his sophomore year back home. A third-round pick by the Montreal Canadiens in 2007, Weber spent parts of 13 seasons in the NHL, where he potted 28 goals and 94 points in 499 games for his efforts. After leaving the show behind in 2021, the Swiss defenseman spent the recent 21-22 season with the National League Zurich Lions, and though he produced modest scoring numbers for the team and racked up a ton of penalty minutes during that span, he wasted little time becoming an integral member of the Lions' blue line. In fact, Weber's impact was so strong that he is returning to Zurich's lineup for the 22-23 season. Now, while he certainly isn't the most productive player on the team, and he is known more for his defensive attributes instead, Weber's reliable play in his own zone and his wealth of experience in the best league in the world should be more than enough to help him perform just as well, if not better, during his second season back home. So here's hoping Weber can build off his recent success and lead Zurich to a championship at the end of the year. It would probably mean far more to him than most, you know. Halfway through this list now, at number 5, we have David Desharnais. One of the only entries in this video to be left unselected at the NHL draft, David Desharnais has made quite the home for himself during his lengthy tenure in the Swiss League. An undrafted player during each of his years of eligibility, Desharnais would go on to play 524 NHL games over parts of 9 seasons, where he scored 87 goals and 282 points during that span. Having last played in the NHL back in 2018, and having spent the following year in the KHL instead, the Canadian forward would leave Russia behind and make the move to Switzerland, as he joined HC Fribourg Gotteron for the 2019-20 season. Since then, Desharnais has spent the last 3 seasons playing exclusively for Fribourg, has worn an A on his jersey as an alternate captain every single year, and he has been one of the team's most productive players during that span, scoring at nearly a point-a-game pace in each of the last 2 years. Not bad for an undrafted hockey player, eh, folks? Though he is about to enter his 4th season with Fribourg, and he is set to turn 36 years old in just a few days' time, I would be genuinely surprised if Desharnais didn't register another productive season with the team. I mean, you don't spend nearly a decade of your career in the NHL and become a productive scorer in Switzerland if you're a bad hockey player, now do you? Moving on to number 4, we have Colton Sceviour. The second Canadian forward on this list, Colton Sceviour is looking to put his best foot forward during his debut year in Switzerland. A 4th-round pick in 2007 by the Dallas Stars, Sceviour spent parts of 11 seasons in the NHL, where he scored 66 goals and 156 points in 535 games for his efforts. After playing the 21-22 season within the Edmonton Oilers organisation, and after splitting the year between the majors and the minors, the Canadian forward has taken his talents across the pond, as he signed a 1-year contract with National League side SC Bern on August 15, 2022. From there, Sceviour has made the move to Switzerland for the 22-23 season. Though he is about to embark on his first year of hockey overseas, and though it could take him some time to adjust to the differing style of play, I expect that the 33-year-old will get comfortable in his new surroundings pretty quickly, and he will find his form sooner rather than later. After all, he spent over a decade playing against the best of the best on a nightly basis. I think he'll be just fine, okay? At the third spot on this list, we have Michael Raffl. The only Austrian player in this video, Michael Raffl is looking to take Switzerland by storm during his opening season in the National League. An undrafted player during each of his years of eligibility, Raffl went on to play 590 NHL games over parts of 9 seasons, where he notched 89 goals and 179 points during that span. Having spent the recent 21-22 season with the Dallas Stars, and having played for 4 different organisations over the last 2 years, the Austrian forward elected to return to Europe, as he signed a 2-year contract with the Swiss League's Lausanne HC on August 4th, 2022. Since then, Raffl has made the move to Switzerland for his debut year in the National League. Though he has spent much of his pro career as a depth forward, producing modest scoring numbers for his team, given his relentless work ethic and his wealth of NHL experience, I wouldn't be surprised if the 33-year-old became one of the most productive players on Lausanne's roster by the end of the year. I mean, the guy has had to work harder than most to earn his place in the sport, and he has made a living off surpassing expectations. I don't think he plans to stop doing that anytime soon, you know. Penultimately, at number 2, we have Daniel Winnik. One of the oldest entries on this list, Daniel Winnik is eager to continue his productive play during his latest year in the Swiss League. A 9th round draft pick by the Arizona Coyotes all the way back in 2004, Winnik spent parts of 11 seasons in the NHL, where he scored 82 goals and 251 points in 798 games for his efforts. After failing to earn an NHL contract in 2018, the Canadian forward would make the move overseas and head to Switzerland, as he joined Geneva Servette HC for the 18-19 season. From there, Winnik has spent the last 4 seasons playing exclusively for Geneva. He has served as an alternate captain of the team on several occasions, and he has been one of, if not their most productive player during that span, as he has scored at roughly a point-a-game pace in each of the last 3 years. Now that's how you make the most of an opportunity, folks. As Winnik prepares to enter his 5th season with Geneva, it's expected that he will continue to register impressive scoring numbers and help the team remain in the hunt for a National League championship. He may be turning 38 years old this season, and he's clearly in the twilight of his career now, but given that he is coming off his best year yet, he still has plenty of gas left in the tank if you ask me. And finally, at number 1, we have Valtteri Filppula. The most experienced NHL player in this video by a pretty sizable margin, Valtteri Filppula takes the top spot on this list thanks to his decorated career on both sides of the pond. A 2nd round pick by the Detroit Red Wings in 2002, Filppula suited up in 1,056 NHL games over parts of 17 seasons, where he scored 197 goals and 530 points during that span. Not only that, the Finnish forward also got his hands on the greatest trophy in the sport, as he won the 2008 Stanley Cup as a member of the Red Wings. So yeah, his NHL career went pretty well. Oh, and if that's not impressive enough, Filppula spent the recent 21-22 season with Swiss side Geneva Servette HC, registered a point-a-game performance during his debut year with the team, while also becoming the latest member of the Triple Gold Club, thanks to winning Olympic gold and World Championship gold with Team Finland earlier this year. Talk about a career season, eh, folks? Since then, Valtteri Filppula has returned to Geneva's roster for the 22-23 season. Though he is 38 years old now, and retirement is clearly on the horizon for him, Filppula's recent achievements in the hockey world and his productive play on every stage proves that he can still perform at an extremely high level and that he has no intentions of letting up anytime soon. So I imagine that both the player and his organisation will be happy to keep their partnership going for a little while longer. So, will Filppula produce another strong season in Switzerland, and will he help lead Geneva to a National League championship? I guess we'll have to wait and see. And on that note, I'm going to end today's video. Those were the top 10 former NHLers who are playing in the Swiss National League this season. What do you guys think about my list? Are you surprised to see some of the names that were mentioned, or did I leave somebody completely obvious out? Let me know in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys think. But thank you very much for watching, guys, I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Bexy93, Burned Retinas, Clayton Hallam, Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, Raquel and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.